is we need to eat local. You need to look at somebody in the eye and know where they're lying to you. You don't get that at Walmart and Kroger and Albertsons because they don't even know. And they'll tell you anything to make you happy to get you out of the store. So, you know, a lot of people don't realize that you can actually feed yourself out of a backyard. I had a patient, and I wish I knew where she went to because I lost track of her. But she lived in Frisco, and she fed her family out of the backyard in a house in Frisco for everything except the protein. There's a guy in California that raises vegetables. He's growing 6,000 pounds of vegetables a year on 1/10 of an acre. There's no excuse, other than it takes extra work, that we got to do. We got to do it ourselves, or we got to deal with people like Foster, somebody willing to do for us, that if we don't want to take the time. How much? 15 more? You mean I haven't talked longer than that?
You talked 16 minutes.
Okay. At any rate, I want to go over a couple things though. A lot of people don't realize that food is politics. I had a friend who passed away 2 years ago. His name was Charles Walters. I don't know if anybody know who Charles Walters is, but he started a company called AkersUSA.com down in Austin. You want any book on anything to do with health and farming or whatever, you go to that site and buy the books. But Charles, do y'all know what the Nuremberg trials were?
Yeah.
Okay. Charles was a young reporter at the Nuremberg trials. He met this army officer, and they got to be friends, and they talked a little bit. And one of the things the army officer told him was, you know, Hitler tried to control the world through violence. Well, it didn't work. He says the way you control the world is through the food supply. And that's what happened to this country and Russia after World War II. Everything was geared to control the world through food. And that's why we have subsidies for the farm policy. The farm policy is not there for us. It's there for corporations that don't need the money in the first place. There is a movement among some people that want to get involved with this process as the farm bill comes up to start having some more and more influence. And I think it's a very important thing. At any rate, Charles also found out, did y'all ever wonder why Jews and political prisoners didn't put up some kind of fight going into the gas chambers? Now we know they weren't fed, we know they were undernourished, we knew that. But you'd have thought at least some kind of a fight if you knew you were going to die. Well, Hitler and the boys figured out if you put fluoride in the water, you cause the depletion of lithium. These people were massively depressed. And what do we have in the water in almost every city in the United States? Fluoride. Did you all know that fluoride doesn't even prevent cavities? Never did. It's just a way to get rid of a toxic waste, so they get paid for it instead of having to pay to get rid of it. I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about, and I won't, because I usually run over. But you know, farmers are victims out of all this. Farmers don't want to produce bad stuff, but they've been brainwashed. They've had all this stuff about you know, that we're going to feed the world, and they think they are. But the truth of it is, yes, the food is sold someplace else, but it's not for the reasons that we think it is, or what we're led to believe that it is. I got to stop using any rate. It sounds disjointed, but I got to get back to the GMOs for a minute. A couple weeks ago, I did a presentation with Jeffrey Smith, and it's an organization he calls the Institute for Responsible Technology. If you put that in Google, it'll come up. The whole idea is there's 28 million people in the United States that admit to using organics on some sort of a regular basis. And we think we need 15 million people to get rid of GMO products. Now, how many of you remember the hubbub about RBGH, bovine growth hormone? You know it's almost gone? You know why? Because we started telling people, do you want the milk with the pus or without the pus? People didn't want the pus. And Monsanto, who was trying to force this on everybody Monsanto was trying to keep us from knowing that it was in the milk, but the bottom line was the public found out about it, and Walmart was one of the first. When they found out the public didn't want it, they went to their milk suppliers. Don't you ever use this again. It disappeared. Kroger did it. Chipotle did it. Starbucks did it. And now a lot of other companies have fallen in. Now, in Europe, they don't have GMO. Now, our government, through ambassadors, is trying to force it on those people, but they don't want it. Bottom line was, when they found out how bad GMOs were, they complained to Procter & Gamble. They complained to McDonald's and Burger King. And guess what? They called up their suppliers. We don't want GMO again. Do you think Burger King and McDonald's and Procter & Gamble are doing that here? Because they know the public doesn't know. But what Jeffrey believes, that it doesn't take that many people to reach a tipping point to put pressure on companies who are going to not make money. And so we think that 15 million people can be the tipping point, and we're getting close to it. And part of the way you do it is complain to these people if you want. And I certainly don't have a problem with that. I did at Kroger. She came up with a cockamamie story that I was just going to tell you. That's another story. That reminds me about milk too. But anyway, the point is that we can do something about it. You vote through your pocketbook. If you go to the Institute for Responsible Technology and look up, they have a brochure that you can print out and take with you in the grocery store. And it won't take you long to learn what you ought to buy and what you oughtn't to. Just stop buying anything that you possibly can with GMOs in it. GMOs have to go. There's no question about it. Or we're going to die. We're already dying. I mean, you look at what we've got health-wise, we've got one of the worst healthcare systems in the world. I mean, we rank 50th. Third world countries have healthier people than we do. But the bottom line is that we have to make some changes, and we got to do it through healthy food. Oh, milk. Now, how many of you buy organic milk?
I buy raw milk.
No, I understand. But not everybody knows that, and some people are afraid of it. And you're absolutely right. That's the best way to go. But how many people admit to buying organic milk? Okay. I had a conversation with a woman at Organic Valley, and I went,